Today's episode is brought to you by Bones Coffee Company. You can forget about pouring coffee when you drink Bones Coffee. Not only do they offer a variety of flavors such as strawberry cheesecake and maple bacon, they are a family-owned company that puts great detail not only in their coffee, but in the artwork that comes on each individual bag. Bones Coffee has a coffee club that will deliver your favorite coffee to your door every month. If that wasn't enough, they also have some amazing swag to offer. Check out Bones Coffee Company today. I'll have my affiliate links in the show notes for you. Hi guys, we are live for another True Crime Tuesday. I noticed in my intro video that I have the wrong video clip on the beginning of that, so I'm going to do a quick share screen so you can see what we're actually talking about. We are going to be talking about this young woman. So I'm going to share that real quick. We're going to be talking about Mikayla Jones. Now, she was an 18-year-old girl, and it's another one of those cases that it seems like it's been mishandled. It seems like that we are dealing with some of the same people, even though this is a different county. We've got the same coroner doing the same seemingly shoddy work, and I have to say seemingly since technically everything is alleged at this point. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So this will show you who we're talking about. We're talking about the lovely Mikayla Jones tonight. Now, tonight we're going to be doing the sharing contest again. So if you have already shared, I've seen some of you were started sharing early. I very much appreciate that. If you are sharing during the show, I appreciate that. However you want to share, I very much appreciate it. What I'm going to be doing is I would like you to write the number of places or times that you've shared it after your name, and that way I can keep it written down. I've got a little notepad here, and then I have a spinning wheel that we're going to write everyone's name down in, and it's going to spin and it's going to pick a winner. So if you've already shared, please make sure and put the number beside your name so we know how many times to put you on our wheel of names. I am using a random name, I don't know what they call it, chooser, picker, I don't know. It's called Click to Spin, wheelofnames.com, and it's a lot easier than trying to write it all down. So as always, I'm sipping a nice iced cup of Bones coffee. Make sure and check out our affiliate. That helps us make more videos for you. Now, tonight, I'm actually going to be giving away something different. I ordered these special for True Crime Tuesday. I hope you can see them. They are a deck of cards that have the True Crime Tuesday show. I don't know how you get them. They have the True Crime Tuesday show photo and logo on the front. I will be autographing the back, which is blank, and I will be autographing that and giving out this True Crime Tuesday cards for whoever wins the sharing contest. Barbara Hall says, I don't know exact number because I shared it to all my groups, but I'm going to say probably 20. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So tonight, the prize that we're going to draw for is going to be this. Okay. I shared 52. Awesome. I love you guys. You're wonderful. Okay. So let me say hi to a few people and then we'll get started. I tried to hesitate a little bit at the beginning to get time for everyone to sign on. So Marian Tate, hello. Barbara Hall, hello. Kimberly Lotz, hello. Venus, hello. Gray Wolf, hello. All of you guys, if I've missed you, I'm sorry. That's the names I have on my list here. So, okay, we're going to be talking about Mikayla Jones. Now, I want you guys, hello, get a look-see. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we're going to be talking about a different county, but it's just like one county over from Madison County. And we're going to be talking about some of the same people. So it's a different law enforcement group. And it's technically a different county, but it's not that far away from where we're at. And it's connected because you're going to find out that the same coroner actually works or is overseas or whatever you want to call it. He is actually over I've heard anywhere from 23 to 26 counties in the rural area of Missouri that he works. So that alone, to me, that is a major red flag, a major conflict of interest. No one man should have that much authority or that much of a workload. And so to me, that unfortunately, it's not an excuse, but I would say if anyone ever took him to court, that would be his excuse. But we're talking about Dr. I'm going to mispronounce it. I'm thinking the way it's spelled, it's Dedeker. I don't know. It might be Dedeker. I don't know. But we're going to find out this person has done autopsy, has mislabeled things on autopsies, has had things that has been omitted in autopsies that should have been put there. There has been autopsies that automatically fall under a conclusion that is not along with the evidence. We're going to find all sorts of things that this coroner has released to the public as the official autopsy. And I'm trying to be circumspect here because as of this point, nobody's been convicted of anything, so we have to say allegedly just for legal purposes. But this man's work has been called into question many times, and we're going to find out in this case that it was called into question again. And I'm sorry, if you get that many check marks against you, somebody needs to look into the situation. So we're talking about Mikayla Jones. Now, Mikayla Jones is actually from Farmington, Missouri. If you see me looking this way, it's because my notes are over here. She's from Farmington, Missouri. She was, by all accounts, a happy, bubbly child. She was, there are a lot of people out there saying that she wasn't a known drug user. She wasn't an addict. She had lots of friends. She wasn't depressed. She wasn't, any of those things. And so she was a lovely 18-year-old girl. She had a mother who seemed to be fairly lenient. So she didn't have to have, she didn't have a mother who was constantly putting pressure on her and very strict. And, she wasn't like that. She had a mother that was, very close to. And then on Wednesday, May 5th, we find out that Mikayla Jones had gone home. And then for some reason, she left the home. The mother didn't know she left the home. So we don't know if she snuck out or if she walked out the front door. We don't know. But for some reason, her mother doesn't hear from her again until she gets a very strange, odd text message a couple days later, that doesn't really sound like her daughter. It kind of does, but it makes her uneasy. By, I believe, May 7th, there was a missing persons report filed because, she is 18 years old. And so law enforcement looks at it as, well, maybe she ran away. Now, she was in this house. This house, from what I understand, is a house of ill repute, I guess would be a way to politely say it. She was in this home with 3 other people on that evening. We do not know how she got there, if she was forced there, if she was coerced there, if she was drugged and literally brought there. We're not sure, but she ended up in this house with 3 other people. Now, the problem with it goes beyond this, because now you've got 3 people in a house with a young woman who is not an active or known drug user. She is in this house with this other girl. Her name's Briley. Now, she's in this house with Briley, and they aren't actually friends. So no one's real sure how she ended up with this girl or why they would hang out, but she was there. We know she was there. She was also there with a man named Ethan Civey. And now Ethan Civey is 24 years old, and he was supposedly dating Briley. And they were also there with a man named Andrew Pierce, who was 32 years old. So we're talking someone a lot older than these 3 teenagers or, young 20-year-olds. So why is this older person hanging out with these people? We don't know. Pierce claimed that him and Mikayla Pierce had lost his girlfriend to an OD situation, I believe. Pierce claimed that him and Mikayla bonded over this because he was missing his girlfriend and she felt sorry for him or whatever. He claimed that they were spending the night together and he woke up and she was dead in his bed. He supposedly panicked, wrapped her up in the comforter. Him and Civvy actually drove around trying to find a place to dump her body. Then afterwards, they said that they smashed and burned her phone and then put it in a black sock and threw it in the water. Now, unfortunately, like all these other cases that we're talking to, depending on when you're talking to these witnesses and who they're talking to, their story changes a half a dozen times or more. So you'll talk to one person and the first initial story before anybody knew that she was actually deceased, they went to talk to these witnesses and they told police that, oh no, she's fine. She ran off with some guy we don't know. She ran off with some stranger to Texas. She ran away. She wanted to become a stripper. Okay, so law enforcement comes up and does their normal announcement to the public because they're wanting information. So they're pleading for information to the public, which is standard practice, what you're supposed to do. Unfortunately, they chose to give this information to the public. So this is the information that they provide. They say, well, this girl possibly ran off to become a stripper in Texas. Well, you don't say things like that until you verify that this is actually what happened, or you have a viable lead that leads you in that direction. Instead, they're like, okay, well, what does that do in the public psyche? That diminishes her a little bit. It says, well, for one, she doesn't care. She ran off with a stranger. So why should I care? Okay. Then you also get the fact that she wanted to be a stripper. So they're like, well, if she wanted to be a stripper, she's 18, she's of age. Okay, let her go. Well, the problem with that is, yes, she was 18 years old. No, she didn't want to be a stripper. No, she didn't run off with a stranger. Okay. So this leads the public down a rabbit hole that is untrue. Okay. So when you're pleading in front of a camera for information on a missing persons case, you don't give the public rabbit holes to run down. You give them the facts that you have. And that's it. You don't give them rabbit holes, okay? Because then what's going to happen is the people that are coming in to give you information, they're going to give you information based on their theories of that rabbit trail, okay? And then come to find out, she didn't go anywhere. She was not too far from that house, and her body was found 2 weeks later along M Highway, rolled up in that comforter. And so what we've done and what's happened is the law enforcement should know better. They should know better than to try to lead the investigation on. You don't lead an investigation. You follow an investigation. You follow the facts, okay? And so it's almost like they're leading the witness on a witness stand. You know, if you're in court and the attorney tries to coerce you into saying something a specific way, the judge will throw it out because that's leading the witness. Well, this is kind of what's happened in this case. They're leading the witnesses through their public plea into a whole scenario that's untrue. Okay, so to me, that shows that was very unfortunate and unprofessional. Yeah. Cricket, are you wanting to say something?
Yeah, also, and I'll say alleged, even though this is an update of facts, but I'm still saying alleged.
I hate that we have to say that, but we do.
Yeah, there were some private videos taken.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Briley posted those on her fans only, and that had all the parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, so we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. So before we get into that, though, let's talk about one other thing before we get into that. what we found out after the body was found. Okay, the body was found 2 weeks later along the highway. And then the police do another public plea for information. And then this time they say, yes, we found her body and she OD'd and these people dumped her beside the road. Okay, this is before the toxicology reports come back. They don't know she OD'd for nothing. Okay. You look at a body that is decayed and in wrapped in this format in a blanket and decayed out in the weather, in the woods, along the road, wherever. You're not going to be able to look at that body and say that they OD'd. Okay, so
Exactly.
again, we have law enforcement overstepping and kind of leading the public narrative. And
Yeah, because that's what the public is going to think. And
right.
they don't know. I mean, she could have been taking an Advil.
Exactly. So what we've got is we've got the public thinking that she's a drug addict, that she wanted to run away with some stranger, and she wanted to become a stripper. Now, if you study and you learn about these people and you talk to different people who knew her, that is the polar opposite of the type of human being we're talking about. Now, not being judgmental in any way, I'm saying this is just a different personality style, a different type of human being, which requires a different type of investigation. So,
Yes.
I don't care if she was a drug addict and a stripper, you still do your job as law enforcement. You figure out who killed her, so I'm not being judgmental anyway. I'm just saying you have created a narrative in the public's mind, and that is going to create the type of information that they're going to call in, because you get 10, sometimes you'll get 1,000 tips in a tip line, and they all think they're helping because they've heard what you've said and they know something that kind of relates to what you said, so they're going to call in. Well, unfortunately, everything you've said online or in front of a camera is completely polar opposite of who this person was.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get in 1,000 tips that are irrelevant to the case, and then you wonder why you can't solve it.
Yeah,
you haven't given
tunnel
the
vision
public
is
the information they
contagious.
need.
Tunnel vision is contagious, and when it starts at the police department,
there's really no hope for the case when it starts that way. Okay, so let's get into what you was talking about. We know that Mikayla was at this house with 3 individuals for a few days, 2 or 3 days, depending on the timeline that you want to go with, where no one's really sure except for the 3 people that were there. So what was happening to this young woman while she was there? We have evidence that shows some very disturbing things while she's there. There are some very personal videos. There are some videos where she's taking a pill and saying, I'm taking this pill because I want to. She's doing all these odd things, and you can tell that she's impaired. And so if you watch those videos, why would you pick a pill up off the floor and say, I'm taking this pill because I want to? That is creating an alibi for whoever's standing behind the camera that's making her take that pill. I mean, to anybody that comes along that and sees this, thinks that's obvious. Okay.
Yes, and you have 2 other men in there that are threatening her, one behind the camera and the 2,
And even the younger man is still, 6 years older than her?
Mm-hmm.
So if she was in bed with Andrew Pierce, if it wasn't consensual, that's rape. Okay. And so this is what those videos were disturbing, because you can see her in a altered state, that she's not her normal bubbly self. She's saying the right words. I'm here because I want to be. I'm taking this because I want to. I'm having a great time. Her words are the right things, but her body language and the things that she's doing don't make sense. It doesn't align with the words that are coming out of her mouth. So you can almost guarantee that she's being spoon-fed those words to say. Okay. So basically, the way it looks from, I'm not a law professor, I'm not a cop. I have just written about 300 of these things. So you notice patterns. I've studied some criminal psychology. I've studied massive amounts of behavioral psychology. What happens is you start to notice patterns, and you will start to notice people's body language don't match the words that's coming out of their mouth. That shows a disconnect there. Something is wrong. Okay, something is wrong. She's saying the right things, but her body language does not agree with her words. Something else is happening in those videos. Okay, so we need to look at those. We don't need to look at them physically, but we need to look at this concept of her having all these videos and things on her phone. Now, this is where, if this isn't bad enough, and I feel like I say that all the time, if this isn't bad enough, I've got more garbage for you. But this is where it gets worse. Andrew Pierce and Ethan, I think it's Sivey or Civey, they were arrested and they were sentenced and charged, but they weren't charged with murder. And Briley wasn't charged with anything. They were charged with abandonment of a corpse and tampering with evidence, and they got about 8 years. Okay, so this is what's really disturbing. They said Pierce ended up saying, this is what happened. He panicked when she was dead in his bed. He wrapped her in a cover, threw her in his truck, and him and Sivey drove around trying to find a place to bury her. Then they took her phone, they smashed it, they burned it, and then they put it in a black sock and put it in the water. Okay. Can we say redundant? They really wanted to destroy that freaking phone. If you want to destroy a phone, you drop it and it's done most of the time. They decide to smash it. They decide to try to burn it, and then they bury it in a sock in the water. I mean, they're going to drown it now. Okay. Why would you do that? Okay. You are not just trying, you're not panicking. You are purposely doing overkill on this phone because there's something on there that is going to get you in trouble. That's why you smash and burn and drown the same phone. Okay.
Yes, and that's what I don't understand what,
because I drop it and I'm like,
yeah,
you don't need to do all of that to destroy a phone.
No,
so
just throw it across the room. That's good.
Exactly. So this is where I'm like, that whole panicked and trying to do this doesn't make sense even more because Missouri has a law called the Good Samaritan Law. The Good Samaritan Law says, I don't care what's going on. If someone's ODing, we don't care if you have a mountain of heroin in your front room floor. We won't do nothing to you as long as you call 911 and we have a chance to save this person that's ODing. Yeah. That's what the Samaritan Law is. Yep. So and they literally, and they knew this because somebody had OD'd at their house or in their presence before.
Yep. Their actions shows murder. Mm-hmm. I don't understand. Again, make it make sense.
Exactly.
They want to not talk about the skull fracture, If for you to do all those things, you are guilty.
Exactly. Well, here we're going to go on into that. So the coroner, Mr. Dedeker, whatever his name is, Dedeker, I don't know, whatever. The coroner does his autopsy, and he says, "Oh, she OD'd. That's it. She OD'd." Doesn't say, the specific things or anything that she OD'd with, just she OD'd, done deal, shut the case, it's done. Okay. Of course, the mother doesn't believe that. The mother gets a second autopsy done by Dr. Jane, I think it's Turner, I believe.
Yeah.
Tammy, you said it was Jane
Yep.
Turner?
Yes.
She said she did find trace amounts of meth and fentanyl, but not lethal amounts. Now, the deal with it is by then she had deteriorated to the point you have to get the percentages, the exact percentages, you need to have blood in your system. And she didn't because she had been out there for 2 weeks. Not trying to get crude. But so she couldn't give the pinpoint exact amount of each thing. But she said it was such a trace amount that neither one of them were lethal. She did, however, find skull fractures and several contusions, multiple contusions on her legs. Okay. So to me, that looks more like she was hit in the head and drugged through the woods. Okay. So we don't know what happened to her. But again, we have the same coroner doing shoddy work and somebody else coming in. And this is something that I've talked about before in some of other videos. So those of you that have seen them and followed me, if you've heard it once and I repeat, I'm sorry. But for those of you that are new, I want to explain this to you. And I explained this the first time when I was talking about the murder of Durante Martin. Okay. An autopsy is supposed to give you, it is just a report of the state of the body on the table. So it's supposed to report everything. If they're like, in my case, I have a scar right down this eye, right here. You can't see it unless I'm real close. I have a scar down this eye from when I was 3 years old. I fell on the corner of a brick steps at my grandma's house. Scared my mom to death. But I have a scar that runs down this eye. If someone has to do an autopsy on me in the future, that had better be in there. Okay. They would report it. If you're talking about an elderly person who has had heart surgery, they will report the scars. They will report the state of the heart muscle itself. Because going down every layer, they will report the state of the surface. They will report the state of the next layer, all the way down. Okay. And the reason why they do that, they're not there to come to a conclusion. They are there to report the state of the body. Okay. So just the fact that Dedeker, Sir dies a lot, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, just the fact that he doesn't put that there is a skull fracture on his autopsy shows that he's not doing his job. You are supposed to report everything. Like in the Durante Martin thing, I said, if that first autopsy doesn't show, he had just had surgery on his arm. He had surgical scars. Okay. So that means that those surgical scars should have been noted on that autopsy. And if they weren't, it was not a thorough and correct autopsy. Okay. So whatever this guy's excuse is, he's not doing a thorough job. If he does not mention everything on there, they're like, well, what if we miss something? Well, your job is to not miss something. Your job is to go over and over and over again until you note everything on and inside that body. So when somebody else looks at it, they can come to a conclusion. Okay. And so just the fact that he didn't notice or notate the skull fracture shows what kind of a shoddy job he did. Okay. Do you girls have a comment on that? I'm going to read some of these comments. I'm getting lots of.
Once again, didn't the mother have to pay for the second autopsy? I mean, she had to pay for that herself.
Yep.
And I'm kind of curious about, they said there was trace amounts of blood, or not blood, but drugs, but I didn't think she used drugs. So do you have any opinions of why there might be a trace amount with her being around that?
Well,
I would say she was drugged.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I was thinking. She could have been
was drugged for
roofied.
2 or 3 days.
And I did do a Google search on fentanyl pills, the color, they are blue. But like, I agree, she was drugged beforehand, and then they're giving her, she didn't even know what she was taking. That's my thought on it.
Sorry, I'm reading these comments. Says with Dr. Dedeker, it doesn't seem to work like that. I've got mine from Timmy. Kimberly says he's a POS doing a cover up for the criminals. He's either covering up for them or he is just crappy at his job and doesn't care, because there's only two options. You either suck at your job, or you're covering up for somebody else. I mean, there's no other options, Barbara Hall says he didn't even mention or show the picture of his tooth being out. Barbara, I need to talk to you again. And Kimberly, I need to talk to you again. I have a couple thoughts on trying not to get too far off topic for everyone else, but I have some thoughts on Timmy's jaw. And Kimberly, I found a few strange sentences in some of the documents you sent me on Durante. So afterwards, I'll try to message you as best I can. I've kind of banged up my hand, so my typing's not very good. So if I talk to text and it kind of sounds wonky, I'm sorry. I smashed up some of the bones in the bottom of my hand here, and so it's doing okay, but I'm having a hard time typing. So my thought, okay, let's continue on. I kind of got off on a tangent here. But here's what I want to talk about with Mikayla. Mikayla, they said that Mikayla every once in a while would take, I believe, a Xanax for whatever reason. And so once that came out, that has been used against her like she was some sort of drug addict. I don't believe she was an addict. I believe she may have taken Xanax every once in a while to help with anxiety and
well, that's what it is prescribed
but,
for.
That is, I don't believe that's I don't believe that she was a drug addict. I really would like to know how those three people got her out of the house, is what I would like to know. Because her mother wasn't extremely strict. So she didn't have to sneak out, so why, how did they get her out of that house is what I want to know. How did they con her into getting, how did they con her into getting into this situation? Kimberly says that would be giving him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, you're talking about the coroner. To me, there's only two options with him. Like you said, he's either covering up for something for the criminals, or he is just crappy at what he does and doesn't care. There's no other option. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and that is public knowledge. That his work has been called into question for a long time, and so that's the thing. I have to be careful, not necessarily giving him the benefit of the doubt. I just have to be careful for legal purposes and say allegedly. So everything I've said up until this point, allegedly. Cover everything for the last 33 minutes and 41 seconds, allegedly. There you go, legal wise. But do I think that he is on a legal standpoint? How is it legal that he's over so many counties? That's what I want to know. We need legislation that passed through Missouri state law and, every state, if they're this way, that a coroner cannot work that many counties. Because I don't care how crapping good you are. If you have too many bodies coming in, you cannot keep up and you're going to do shoddy work.
Exactly.
And so I think that needs to be regulated to where that cannot happen, whether you're a good coroner or you're a piece of crap.
Well, you'd be a better coroner if you don't have all those cases and you can, focus on just your people there, your county.
Yeah.
Maybe occasional case in an extra county, depending on a situation, but that's
right.
it.
Well, you could work as backup when this county gets overloaded and
Yeah.
nothing to do, kind of thing. But everybody that dies doesn't get an autopsy, so you can't say, well, everybody, there's so many bodies coming in, not everybody that dies gets an autopsy. So unless there's questions, there's usually no autopsy. And so it's not like everybody that dies, he has to see them.
But in most of these cases, because of ages and things, they all should have had autopsies and they all should have been done correctly.
Right, exactly. And so this is where and then again, we're talking about, I'm not sure in Washington County because I haven't looked up Washington County, but Madison County only has like 13,000, 12,000 people in the whole freaking county, so it's like, if they all died at once, he might get overloaded,
Well, then you need to back up. Let's back up.
So, and then there's some rumor mill stuff where he's been trying to offer jobs to random people to help with autopsies that aren't qualified. And, I don't have any backup to show that. If somebody has actual evidence to show it to me, it wouldn't surprise me. But this is just one more story. One more story that fits into this. I've got a murder board behind my computer here, where you got the pictures and the little strings connecting everybody over. And I'm running out of wall space for Madison County. And I'm just like, 90% of these people, maybe all of them. Of course, the missing persons don't qualify. I'm not sure if Nick Lowry ever got an autopsy. I'm looking. You can see Jacob Kirkpatrick. Did he get an autopsy? I'm not sure if he got an autopsy. But most of those people on that wall were autopsied by this same guy. And there's questions in every one of them. Now, if that's not enough to say, hey, we need to bring somebody in from the outside to investigate this, then I don't know what is. Because everybody on that wall, like I said, other than those 2 or 3 people, I'm looking. I don't see anyone else basically that wasn't autopsy. And then of course Gina Dawn Brooks, she's missing. Nobody knows where she is. But all of these autopsies were done by the same guy, and every one of them have questions. And so to me, that's enough to say somebody needs to research that guy.
And all of his cases he's ever done there need to be checked out.
Absolutely. Once one is called into question, you're supposed to go back and question everything. That's the way it usually works. Okay, Kimberly says, that's why we're able to speak out about how we feel. If you're overwhelmed with the work, stop being greedy and collecting the money. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason says, I do know where Gina is. Fabulous. You need to tell somebody, and we need to find her. And Billy Joe. Jason, I don't know Billy Joe. I haven't heard of that case. If you want to send it to me, I'll look at it. Okay, so let's go through, and we're gonna make this one short. We've got thunderstorms and tornado warnings in my area, so I'd like to get it done before the tornadoes hit and I lose power. So I'm going to read off your names, and I'm going to read off your names, and then we're going to put you in the spinning wheel to see who wins. I'm not sure if I've got everybody and how many. So let's see. I've got Karen Langston. Karen, I know she sent me that she shared it 5 times. Karen sent it 5 times. Okay. Barbara Hall.
20.
Marion Tate, I wrote down 50.
52.
Yeah, 52.
52. Okay. Venus.
3.
I'm thinking 3, yeah.
3 shares, Venus. Okay.
And Get a Look-See shared on Facebook. So
Get a Look-See shared once. Okay.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Anybody else share? What we're doing is I am going to draw for this pack of playing cards that has this on the box. It's Synova's True Crime Show. So, and then I'm going to autograph the back of it. Okay. So, if I've missed you, get a shout out real quick. I'm going to type these in. I'm going to struggle to type these in real quick. Cricket, say something. What do you think about this case? Tammy, say something. I need you to blither for a minute or two. I can painfully type.
It's just another heartbreaking case. In fact, when I was talking to Synova earlier, I got this girl confused with another Frederickstown because it's it's all the same reasons, even though we know they're not truth,
Right.
but every one of them is one of the, you got one or two reasons why they are no longer here. And they're all murder, in my opinion.
17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, got Barbara down. Keep talking. No, see, that's what really bothered me in this whole situation is I'm like, after a while, we could stay on Fredericktown for a year. But the problem is after a while, there's nothing else to say, and this is horrible because you've got, this human being, and yet there's nothing else to talk about because it's the same story, the same corruption, the same BS over and over again. And you're like, what am I supposed to make a new video about when it's the same thing? You've got a mother crying. You've got mishandling by the police. You've got, an autopsy that's crap and they have to pay for another autopsy. Nobody's listening to the parents. I'm like, it's the same story over and over. And it's just heartbreaking.
These criminals.
Yeah, Marion Tate, we're not going to stop fighting for justice for Fredericktown, Missouri.
Absolutely not. We're going to keep going. Okay, I'm still working on
You're stuck with us.
And the suspects and these criminals are being protected by the police. I mean,
yeah.
Well, and that's what bothers me.
We can have some ideas why they are. We probably can't say why we think, but they're obviously being protected by the police.
Well, even if they're not intentionally, which I think, I'm not saying that I actually believe this, but even if they're unintentionally doing this, they're still protecting them because of their lack and shoddy workmanship. They are literally not doing a good job, and therefore they are, this is what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to click to spin. I've got everybody's name in there. This is a whole lot faster. Whole lot faster. Who do we got? All right, drum roll. Somebody give me a drum roll.
Kimberly Lotz said she's got 23 tags.
And
Who?
2 shares.
Kimberly Lotz. 23 tags.
23 tags. Okay. All right. So that means that I got to do that. Add that in. All right. Give me just a second. I'm trying to fix my brace here. All right.
And what's sad too is that, we're not saying all the cops out there are bad, but the ones that are good, they're not going to cross that line because their livelihoods are,
Right.
being threatened if they do speak up. It's
23 tags and 2 shares. She said.
Fabulous. Well, those tags count as shares because she's sharing it with that she's tagging in. So it would be 25. Okay. All right. Let me add that in real quick. Give me just a second, girl. Now there's something I want to talk to you guys about, but I'm having to do this at the same time. 2, 3, hang on, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. All right. There is something I want to talk to you guys about from just kind of a standpoint of researchers, I'm going to go ahead and spin that again while we wait. Something that I noticed, and I'm going to tell you this for all of you on here, you know, all of you that are sharing. I know it's because you guys are admins on different groups, and I appreciate it a lot. But I also know that you're admins on those groups because most of the time you are the one that has the family member that has been victimized. The reason why I say it that way is because I believe that that when you have a victimized family member, it's real easy to claim the title victim. And I was talking to a victim's family member earlier this week, and she's like, I feel like a victim too. I want you guys to know you're not the victim. You're the victim's family member. You are the warrior that's standing up for the victim. Okay.
Yes.
And you cannot let that victimhood become your identity, or you won't be successful in your fight for justice. Okay. So that's just a little bit of life coaching for you. But I also want to talk to you a little bit of business. When someone's researching your case, you're running a Facebook group, Justice for whoever. Okay. There is a couple things that you can do to help get more traffic to your Facebook group. Also, for people like me that and my team that is researching the case, usually your group is the biggest source of information. You can't just Google it and find it. You can't go to newspapers.com to find it. But there's a problem that I've noticed over time. You will get, like in this Mikayla Jones case, I had to scroll down a year and a half worth of postings that were, good postings, but they didn't have the details of the case. They were more memorial postings. I miss you on this holiday. I miss my friend. This year this is the court date. Everybody meet us at the courthouse. All of those are important posts. But as a researcher and someone who's trying to get the story out, we need to be able to get in and get the story and get out. Okay. So I know that there's a lot of podcasters, news media people, and things like that. They're going to be looking through your group. Now, to help you get more eyes on that, you want people that are busier than me, people that are bigger than me, have bigger news channels and things like that. They're not going to take the time to scroll through a year and a half worth of posts to get the case details. So what you want to do, just to help, boost this up a little bit, you want to create one post that has a good, clean photo of your loved one that's easily to share. So nothing with writing on it or anything like that. Get one good, clean photo, and then write the details of the case. None of the, all of the emotional stuff and all that. Try to keep that out. Just bullet point all of the details. Okay. We need to know when this happened, where it happened, all of the questions that come up, why did this happen, all of those details. And then once you make that good, clean post, pin it to the top of your group or pin it to the top of your page. And what's going to happen is you're going to get all of these researchers who are trying to share a story that get frustrated or don't have enough time. I'm trying to reach the level of releasing 2 videos a day. And so that's hard to do, especially when you're running through so many cases like we do. Okay. So if you get someone even busier, they're going to end up skipping you. And I don't want that to happen. So good, clean post that has a good, clean photo, bullet point all of the important factual details, and then pin it to the top of your group. Okay, that would help massively. And then I noticed in some of the groups this is done, and then other parts of the groups they're not. This is what, if you have any files, any police reports, any PDF files that you want to share, upload them to the group under the files tab. Then anybody can access those that need those. Okay. So this is just, some little online marketing tips for you, because the whole concept, we're all in this, is to raise awareness, and we want to make it as easy as possible to get the information out that any public figure that wants to get it. I mean, I hope you all get on, major national news media kind of thing. And so hopefully if you have that, that will help get the information out a little bit better. So this is, just a little bit of housekeeping stuff I want you guys to know, because I want you all to succeed. I want you all to get the justice you deserve. I want your loved one to rest in peace. And to do that, there's a few little things that we can do to make it a smoother process. Okay. All right. So let's get back here. Jason says, it's another way to get all of our voices heard. Absolutely. Marion says, thank you for the information. Absolutely. Because see, I'm a massive online marketer is what I am. And I just use that to help with cold cases. So if I have some information to make your group more effective, then that's exactly what I want to give you. Okay. All right. So let's go back here to the wheel, see where it stopped. Okay. Drum roll, please. Ow, that hurts my hand. I can't do it. Barbara Hall. Barbara, you won our very first deck of cards. I'm going to sign.
Barbara.
I will sign the back to Barbara and I will mail them to you. Barbara, I think I have your address because you sent me a Timmy D's t-shirt, didn't you? So I'll look back. I believe I have your address. I'll get this mailed out to you tomorrow. Guys, I love you all. I appreciate you all. We will keep working until some leads come in, and I'm not done working just because I make a True Crime Tuesday video. I have podcast episodes coming up. I have blog posts. I have memes. I have Instagram reels. I have all kinds of ways to share the same story. So if I've cycled through your story and you haven't heard from me in a while, I haven't forgot you. I'm going to circle right back around until we get through all of these things. The concept is I want to make as much different items, content, online content for you to share. So you can share blog posts, you can share YouTube videos, you can share podcasts. I'm going to make a little meme. I made one little meme for Timmy D's. I haven't made one for everyone yet. I'm going to make a meme for everyone that just gives the information. And so like I said, if you haven't heard from me in a while, I haven't forgot you. I will circle back to you. Barbara says, are you kidding me? I won. You absolutely won. So I will sign this and I will get this to you. Girls, do you have any closing comments before we get off here? So much. I tried to make it a 30-minute video. It's 52 minutes.
Well, I just want to agree with you. All you families, you're warriors, and you can never forget that.
Yep.
You know, you're the ones out there fighting, and it's going to get done.
Yeah, we're going to keep pushing.
Yeah,
we're not going to let it go.
Exactly.
No. I'm not good at letting things go.
No.
I'm good at that. I'm like, no.
And if one of us starts feeling down, the other pushes them back up.
Yes, I'm blessed to have a tag team of two friends that really are good when I get down. So I appreciate you and Tammy. I appreciate you girls. Okay, Tammy, do you have any closing things to say before we jump off?
I agree with Cricket that they just need to keep fighting for justice, and surely things will happen if they don't give up.
They do. And the thing is eventually the system of corruption will break down. Somebody will stop going along with the crowd. Somebody will start talking. Somebody will retire, and then other people feel free to talk. You know, it will break down.
Yep. And good will overcome evil.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for joining me for True Crime Tuesday.
Bye.